everybody. This is a fun, exciting interview. I am so happy to bring you today. I have the Montoya from Montoya Patterns here today. I am so excited to be talking with Montoya. Many of you already follow her here on YouTube. She has a huge following as well as over there on Instagram. So I am so excited to bring Montoya in today. Welcome, Montoya. How are you today? And Happy New Year.
Oh, Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I enjoy your YouTube channel. I have enjoyed getting to know you these past 5 years with the Black History Month Pattern Designer Challenge. And I'm excited to speak with you today.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. For those who don't know, okay, I've already given history and you see it on the website about Black History Month Pattern Designers Challenge and why it was started. But what you may not know is that I had no idea. I was pretty new to indie patterns in general, over 5 years ago. But I was even more new that there were Black pattern designers, indie. So commercial, you have the big four, the commercial, we know about those, but it was the indie patterns that was new to me. I'm thinking, oh, wow, there's Black pattern designers that's creating patterns from an indie perspective. These are businesses that we must support. And so when I reached out, I have to say, acknowledge that Montoya and Aaron from Style So Me were my very first some of my very first supporters of this challenge, and the first Black pattern designers I became aware of because I followed them on YouTube. Many of you follow Montoya and Style So Me here on YouTube. So when I saw that they did patterns, I was like, what is this? I'm supporting all day long. And so Montoya had a Kickstarter, what was it, about 6 years ago? It was before I think I did started my challenge, a sewing challenge, but for her first pattern. And I just, when I reached out to Montoya, bold, quick sidebar, if there's something that you desire to do, that you think, this person is so big, their platform is so big, or their YouTube, whatever is so big, they may say no, they may ignore me. You might be right. You may absolutely be right. They may ignore you, but they might not answer your emails or nothing like that. But how about you could be wrong? And so
Right.
That was my fear when I reached out to, you might not know that, Montoya, but, but I'm looking at people's platforms and I'm like, I'm just, I'm over here. I'm going to give it a try. And Montoya said, yes, she was support. And I was so super excited. So I have to start out by just saying, thank you for the support over all of these years and throughout. I mean, we, post and all this other different stuff throughout, your videos and post on Instagram throughout the, year. But, specifically for the challenge, I just want to say thank you so much.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I believed in the vision, and I appreciate you and reaching out and saying yes to yourself, because oftentimes we tell ourselves no because of fear or doubt of, what might happen. But it's like you have to try, and that's exactly how I felt even with starting a pattern. Like I don't know what's going to happen or, what's going to come of this, but I'm glad that you told yourself yes. And I saw the vision, and now to see what it has blossomed into.
Thank you.
It's exciting to see from the beginning to where you are now. I got my shirt on.
Thank you for the support.
Shirts now. So, it has been beautiful just to see it grow and blossom, and I'm so glad that I get to be a part. To me, I'm like, oh, me, like, okay, I get to be a part of this. So I'm just so happy for you and all that you have done and all that you're going to continue to do. And I just look forward to just being a part of your journey as you continue to grow.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, one of the things, of course, many people are going to want to know, because you were in the pattern making game years ago. It has been phenomenal. And I say it all the time, to see the growth of Black pattern designers, how many have entered into indie, specifically have entered, because I know it's different when you're deciding to do it on your own and create your own label, create your own brand. And it has been exciting to see the growth of so many Black pattern designers, and those, like you say, stepping out there with their vision. And so I just have to know, I mean, again, you was in the game way long time ago. What made you decide to start your pattern company? And with that, tell us a little bit about your sewing history.
Ooh, let's see. Well, this is my 10-year anniversary of sewing. So in December of 2012 is when I started sewing. So it's been 10 years for me. I started sewing. I wanted to make my niece something for Christmas, and I had a sewing. My sister bought me a sewing machine. I used to make the throw blankets by tying, and I would hand stitch their names on them. And the sewing machine, she had bought it for me so I wouldn't have to hand stitch. I tried using the machine. It started going out of control. I forgot to put the presser foot down or something. Like, I will just stick to hand stitching. I put the machine back in the box, and that thing sat for like 3 years. And then I finally took it back out the box, found some, my niece was really into bow ties at the time. So I made her some bow ties, found some videos on YouTube, and just went through a bunch of them and just put together my own thing, my own concept, and started making bow ties. Is how I started.
Wow. Wow. And then it went into, so what made you then transition to say, you know what, I'm gonna make a pattern?
As I started getting into sewing and patterns, I always would take a pattern. I would never sew a pattern as is, for the most part. I would sew a pattern sometimes as it is, but I just started having more ideas of things that I wanted to see. And so I started thinking like, well, this is a design that I have in my head, but I'm not seeing it. And I decided, okay, well, I have a vision for something. So let me start designing my own. So I got some of that big paper, and I would just start making my own things, like drafting my own patterns, mainly skirts to start off with. And then when I wanted to do the Tory wrap coat pattern, that one I'm like, well, this one is a little bit more challenging to teach how to draft all of these pieces, because there was so many pieces for that pattern. And I'm like, this one will be a bit more challenging to teach people how to draw out. So let me figure out how to design my own pattern. And woo, that was I'm like, are we ready to do this? I had just started my blog maybe about a year and a half ago, and I'm like, are we ready for this? And I'm like,
and you stepped out there. I remember your Kickstarter. I remember your video and the Kickstarter. Because is the pattern, the Tory wrap pattern, is that named after your mom?
Yes, that's named after.
Yes, that's what I remember. I remember you talking about that.
Named after my mom. So I went on, which platform did I go through? I think I went through Freelancer, or I forget which one, but I found someone, sent them a sketch of what I wanted, and working with that, and then having people test the pattern and testing all of the sizes. Because when I put out something, I like for it to be tried and true. Yeah. And I like for each and everything to go through a process. And yeah, I was like, "Ooh, this is a journey." And then thinking about, okay, next step, how do we go about getting it printed?
Right.
I'm like, whoo. I'm like, if I learned anything from, because I used to do spoken word, and so I'm going somewhere with this. It might seem like a tangent. I'm going somewhere. I used to do spoken word, and I had a spoken word ministry. So I would do performances at different churches, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like you should put together a DVD." So I put together a DVD, got T-shirts, merch, all of these things, and then I lost my passion for it. I was getting burnt out.
For spoken word, you lost your passion for it?
I was going to so many churches, driving all across the Bay Area to perform, and I was just getting so burnt out. But then I was left with all of this product, all this merchandise, and and I'm like, okay, I invested a lot of my all of my part-time money I was earning. I was working part-time at the time, and I put all of my savings into that, and then I was left no savings, no nothing. And I'm like, okay, this time around, when we're making decisions, we need to make better choices.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, okay, let's do a Kickstarter and see, how that goes. Ultimately, I didn't meet the goal of the goal, so I wasn't able to get it funded to be able to get a printed pattern. So that hurt my feelings for, I was like, woo, okay, maybe I'm like, did we do the right thing?
Right.
Like you didn't reach, like you set out to do this thing. You had this goal, you didn't reach the goal. Like, is this what you're even supposed to be doing? And so I started researching more to figure out, okay, well, how can I start to do that? Like, how can I just go the PDF route,
right,
and create another way, and allow people to have it printed, either, figure out how international customers can get it printed, how those in the States can get it printed.
Right.
And we just gonna have to make it work.
You gonna figure it out, right?
Yeah, like, this is okay. You thought it was gonna go this way. You saw, you had a vision. You thought that the like, this was what it was going to be. You thought, okay, the Kickstarter was gonna go. Then we were gonna go through, all these different channels to be able to get the paper pattern, and then to be able to get the packaging and all that. And it did not go that way. Right. So now it's time to pivot. And what are you going to do next? So right. That's what I decided to do. Just keep it going. Keep it, like, everything's not always going to go your way. I mean,
absolutely, but you can't give up. That's the thing. Right. Like, you get in your feelings. You allow yourself to wallow, to be like, man, that hurt. Or, and then you start taking it personal, like, oh, right. Yeah, maybe nobody really into me like that. And I'm just, maybe I'm cute for today, but not long-term thing,
Exactly. Yeah, I'm like, maybe I'm not as, like I thought I was, but maybe not. But it was a humbling experience, but definitely taught me that, like, even in the midst of rejection, keep going, and just to still believe in my talents,
yes.
And keep going. And not everything is going to go your way all the time.
Right.
So what are you going to do? Are you just going to give up and be like, well, that was that? It's like, no, now it's time to pivot and take a new path.
Right, exactly. And I will say, throughout the year, obviously, not just outside of, not just for the month of February, but throughout the year, your pattern, see it all the time posted on Instagram. But I can say your pattern is one of the most popular ones that people will make during BHM Pattern Designers, because I've seen it. For those who don't know, I have made the Tory wrap coat. I wore that thing till almost the threads were pretty bad, but I salvaged it. I had to donate it because I lost a lot of weight since I had originally made it. And I made the Toya skirt as well. And what I've seen people, when I see people post your pattern, they hack it to different things. I've seen it sleeveless. I've seen different coat versions, different peplum top versions, it's like one of those patterns that is easy for you to make it into something else and, you know, continue to elevate on top of what you intended it for it to be, which is so exciting to see.
Love it. I love how people can get creative with it, and just seeing all the different versions. I'm like, wow. Okay. I'm like, see, this is why we have to keep going. This is why, you know.
Right.
So that inspires me when I, you know, see people's makes. I'm just like, yeah, this is why you do what you do, and why you can't give up, and why you need to keep going.
Right. And no matter how it looks, because I mean, the thing is, at least for me, I don't know if you think this way, but at least for me, even though I might not have some huge following or anything like that, I just keep pressing, stay in my lane. And what it allows me to do is to truly stay in my lane, because it's very easy. Say sometimes if you know, because it's very possible for people to come out with a YouTube channel or whatever the case may be, whatever product or service that they're offering, and like skyrocket like right away is very, very possible. But I'm glad for the, what would I term it, slow growth, because it's helping me when there is kind of that stagnation period, or I'm feeling like I don't know. That allows me to pivot, to shift, to focus a little bit more, and not have to worry about you know, just staying in what I started and that's it. That's all I'm going to do. It allows me to, because I know how my brain operates. And so in my personality, it's like, okay, I don't mind. Okay, we just going to stay the course, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to figure this thing on out. So because you have talk to us about the patterns that are on your website. Obviously, everybody, a link to our website, YouTube, Instagram, everything will be in the description box. But tell us about the patterns and the tutorials which are available on your website.
Yes, so my Tory wrap coat, that's the only one currently that has a PDF for it. But I'll give y'all a little. I'm not sure when the release date will be, but for all of my tutorials that I have, all of my courses that are on my site, so my Tiva skirt, my Toya skirt, my Soraya skirt, I have another one. I'm making patterns for all of these skirts. So they're in the works right now, but currently the way that I have it is the courses teach you how to draft it yourself. So I have different measurement guides I have different measurement guides to teach individuals how to draft their own skirt patterns. And necklace patterns. I also have, that was my first one, my baby, my Imani necklace tutorial. That was the one that got me going to teach me how to put a course together. It's very much different from doing a YouTube video and putting together a course. It's different. But yeah, I have different skirt tutorials going step by step, similar to YouTube, but broken down just a little bit more to really teach you from beginning to end.
I can say, because I took the tutorial for the Toya skirt, that it is very detailed. And what people may not be aware of is that you are a teacher full time, and so that it comes across naturally what you do and how you teach. It's like you really make sure that people understand what they're doing, and you know what it's supposed to look like. Really I might say that, and people are like, well, everybody does that. No, there is some people just really have that gifting of teaching, and you do have that gifting of teaching. What grade do you teach, by the way?
Well, currently, so I was teaching 4th and 5th grade, but now I'm in a new position. So I'm called a TOSA, a teacher on special assignment. So I still teach 4th and 5th grade. I teach social emotional learning, but I also am in a position where I create instructional materials for teachers to use to teach their students. So still in the realm of teaching. So I'm still teaching students and adults now. In role.
Look at that gift. And if people don't believe it, yes, your gift will make room for you. And look, you're using that gift in the marketplace and school and different things like that. But look, also for your brand, your pattern company, and the different things that you create. And so that is just amazing. I absolutely love it. And I've been loving, of course, following your journey and the different things that you post on Instagram. And Montoya does have a blog post, so she does reviews as well for some patterns and different things like that. So you have to make sure that you visit her website, check out the classes, check out the tutorials, the patterns, all of that. Stalk her over there on Instagram. Follow her if you're not. Many of you follow her already on YouTube, but follow her here on YouTube as well. And so any other new plans, anything new that's coming up that you want to talk about? You already gave us a little some. We're going to follow along and watch out for the launch of those other patterns. But anything else that you're excited about that's coming up in 2023?
Yes. So my hope I have been working on a beginner's course. So a lot of my tutorials and courses are beginner friendly. But I have some people who reach out to me where they're like, I don't even have a sewing machine yet, and my tutorials and courses are catered to beginners. But I mean, for those who haven't even practiced sewing a stitch yet, who haven't threaded a machine yet, that is what I've been working on. Actually, during this break, I have set up my camera behind me, start going through the different parts of the machine, but really breaking it down. So now I've been just taking my place back. That's one thing I like to do as a teacher is think from a beginner's perspective. So even though, I might know certain things already, before I begin to create courses or teach, I like to okay, let me put myself in a beginner's shoes.
Right.
Let me start anticipating questions. What might be some misconceptions. I start to think about all of those things. And then that's how I start to map out my course. So that's where I'm at right now, just putting myself in a from a beginner's perspective and start to think about, okay, what are some of the questions or some of the things that I wish I would have had, and just thinking about, okay, if I was a beginner, what would I need?
Right.
So that's what I'm working on right now. I have it all mapped out. I have been working on the patterns for that because that's also something I want to have available for the courses. Here's everything you need to know as a beginner to get you going. And now let's sew some things. And here's the patterns for it.
Right.
Yeah. So
I love that. That's just a natural progression for a natural born teacher. So, I mean, you are doing it. And by the way, love your style. Love your style. When you are posting over there on Instagram, I'm like, girl, you rocking that. Especially that look.
Just to give y'all a sneak peek. I'm like, this is what I got going. I just finished this.
Nice. That has a zipper on the front.
Yeah, instead of buttons, I was like, do we want buttons? Or I'm like, you know what? I had this zipper in my stash. And I said, but this is 43 steps later.
That's all right. But everything you post is just, I'm like, boy, look at that. And I love just seeing all kind of sewists and creatives when they post things, even if it's something not particularly my style or something I will wear. What I'm always paying attention to is a technique that they've done, or something that they've done that I haven't done or thought about. Like you say, you take patterns and maybe not necessarily make them the way from, the way the pattern was designed to be made, and then you add your touches to it. Those are the types of things that inspire me. Like, oh, okay, let's think outside the box. And so that's how, at least for that, I feel like my sewing for me personally has began to evolve over the years, is that, okay, let's get out the box. Let's stop. Here's the pattern cover. Here's what it's supposed to look like. How can you, juice it up a little bit? How can you add, a little bit of your personality up in there? That type thing.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm inspired. I'm like, oh yeah, I could add that touch, and yeah, I love that.
Well, thank you so much, Montoya, for spending time with me today. Again, thank you so much for all of your support over the years, and continue to be so supportive. For those, again, who are new to Montoya, I will leave a link to her YouTube, her Instagram, her website, everything down in the description box. But of course, Montoya Patterns is listed on the BHM Pattern Designers page on the website as well. And so, yeah, I'll leave everything about BHM Pattern Designers down in the description box. The live event that we have coming up next month here in Texas that you can participate in, all of that will be left down in the description box. So that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Thank you again, Montoya, and everybody. You all have a blessed rest of your week, and stay tuned for Wednesday's video. Bye.